All right, it is the morning of Friday, December 17th, and I'm going to be doing a drive with FSD Beta 10.6.1 from my house in Northeast Minneapolis to the gym that I go to in St. Paul. I'm going to be taking the side streets the entire way as I've done before, so this will be kind of a good benchmark. There was a little bit of snow that we got last night, so expect a little bit on the side streets, a little slight dusting of snow, but otherwise it's, the sun looks to be coming out, otherwise pretty stable weather conditions. So I'm going to also be trying to do another video today of the Northeast Minneapolis test loop that I've done in the past with previous builds. 10.7 looks to be fast approaching, so I don't have much time to see how 10.6.1 will respond, but so far it's been minimal improvements compared to 10.5. But anyways, I'll shut up now and let's go for a drive and see how 10.6.1 does with this drive here. And apologies for the noise from the brakes there. I got my car washed yesterday, so they'll make a little bit of noise here for the first few times we hit the brakes. That's pretty normal. I have a heated garage, so sometimes they rust up pretty quickly. So this intersection here that we just passed through, the car's always been overly hesitant here throughout the 10.x build, so if 10.7 is as big of a change as Elon's stating, I'm hopeful that we'll see some changes at that intersection back there, just because it's always empty. There's never any cars there, and the car always waits way too long than it needs to. So. A great job with that right turn. Sometimes in the past, in previous builds, the car overly hesitates there, and there was a car coming up on our left there, and it had a small window, and it took it, so that was pretty cool. Alright, so a little bit too much slowing at the end. I think it was just due to the line selection it took, but honestly, that's been an improvement over what I've seen in previous builds in terms of behavior with that turn. The intersection can be tough. It can be really tough for FSD, especially when there's cars coming at us. This time there wasn't, so maybe that was the reason why we had some better luck there. But either way, so far so good. And this is another intersection that has been a pain point throughout all the FSD 10.x builds. Every single time I have to usually press the accelerator to get the car to kind of go in a timely fashion, which does get a bit annoying because most times, these are quieter residential areas. There's not a lot of cars, not a lot of traffic to deal with, so I wish the car would be better about knowing when it's clear, but I kind of get it, especially with the early 10.x builds. They're overly cautious, but it's time to start making the car act a bit more confident if you're confident in what the vision network is seeing. So. So pretty good handling of that four-way stop. That's honestly been one spot where FSD has always done pretty darn well. The one thing I'll say is when it does decide to go in a timely fashion, sometimes it doesn't hit the throttle fast enough, and in some cases like that one there, I wish it would accelerate a bit faster. It does take too long, and I think it does kind of annoy people around us because a human driver, even in a slower car, would accelerate faster than what we were doing there. So again, for whatever reason, this crossing of that intersection there results in the car always wanting to go to the right when we cross through it, even though the lines are clearly visible. I don't see why it wants to do that. So I've been reporting that issue every single time. Haven't seen any improvement so far. So hopefully in 10.7 we see some different behavior there. So again, the car always wants to, for whatever reason, go to the right there, and it obviously should not do that, especially when there's cars there. So it's one of those things that I've had to take over before in the past. I've been lucky a lot of times where there's not been a car to my right, but there was, and if there was more traffic, that could be a problem. So again, I just continue to report that issue and hope that they address it in a future build here. So I'm not sure why the car wanted to double back there with the lane change there. It did not need to make the extra lane change, so I'm going to report that. All right, and that continues to be a good intersection for FSD. There was a problem in a couple previous builds ago. I think it was like 10.4 time frame, 10.3. That was really problematic for it. Ever since 10.5-ish, it's not been a problem. So glad to see that the no regression there. So a little bit of hesitation there, and then let's see if it figures it out here. Yeah. So that's still an issue there. Unfortunately, the car likes to use the shoulder. There's a few other roads around my house where it does similar behavior. I haven't seen if it does it in 10.6, but just based on that example there, it looks to still be an issue. So again, hopeful that maybe they'll address some things like that in 10.7. So again, I don't understand why the car is so bent out of shape to use the right like that. I'm going to report that, but I'm sure that kind of weirded out some of the pedestrians back there when they're like, what is this car doing? But I've noticed that before when there's, parking spots along the side, and it's not like a dotted line like it is up here. They need to be better about that, and I think the car they need to update the behavior to where it stays more towards the inside dotted line versus being so focused on the outside. I get it when there's like snow and you can't see the road lines, then it's acceptable behavior, but in this situation, not so much. There was a slight twitch in the wheel there. Not a big deal, but just something that kind of surprised me, so I'm going to report that. that was not a great left turn there. I'm not sure if the pedestrian, it being worried about the pedestrian, kind of freaked it out or what, but yeah, that was like only the second time I've seen it enter the wrong lane there. I don't know if it's because there's some salt on the lines or what, but yeah, that was not optimal there. So we'll have to test that again in 10.7 and see if it does a similar reaction there. So again, you'll kind of see the problem here. There's two lanes really here. They're not really marked. This is how great our roads are, unfortunately, in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Dotted lines are hard for us to draw. So there's nobody behind us yet, so honestly it's not that big of a deal right now, but I would really prefer the car to align. If it knows it's making a left turn, align itself to the left curb, you know. Seems pretty straightforward. I'm sure it's obviously a lot harder to put to code, but something they need to address at some point. So I will report that. But the actual left turn was great. It seemed like it had great visibility of cars coming from both directions. Didn't make me feel unsafe at all. Like some of the previous builds where it was overly hesitant, and then all of a sudden it would just try to go for it, and it was usually the wrong time to go. So seems to be a bit of improvement there in 10.6. I've seen a similar behavior around my house where there's a left turn I commonly make on a busy street, or onto a busy street, and so far FSD has done a great job on that with that turn there. So. A four-way stop's been a problem for FSD in the past, and so far it seemed to handle that really, really well. It didn't overly hesitate, didn't wait too long, just went. That was great. And as I say that, for whatever reason, you can see here, there's no stop sign or anything. So I don't know if this is, again, old map data or what, but the car will come to a complete stop if I let it to. Obviously, there's traffic behind me, so I'm not going to let it do that. But again, Tesla, if you're listening, please update the maps. We're obviously still relying on them for navigation purposes. And I've noticed several spots around St. Paul similar to that where the car will just stop for no reason. And nothing on the UI indicates that it's what it's stopping for. So it'd be nicer to see if we could actually see some more verbose output in the UI to say, hey, this is why I'm slowing down for stop sign or whatever. So that way, if we at least know what's going on, because right now it just seems to be stopping for no apparent reason, and there's obviously a reason for what the code is doing. So, and then on top of that, it would sure be great then to say, okay, there's a mapping issue, report mapping issue, just by adding a button to the UI, and then hopefully have some human on the other end of the line on Tesla's side, and then fix it. Because the current approach just doesn't seem to be working. So I'm going to take over here. This is a problem that I've seen. I really wish FSD would really tightly align itself. There's not much space, but it's just being a good steward of the driving space. So I just take over there, and it should complete this left turn more than likely without issue. But just to be courteous to drivers behind us that are trying to turn right, I give them space there by doing that. So it's more of a nuanced thing, but just something that they have to account for eventually if we are going to coexist on the road with human drivers and whatnot with this new autonomy. So. Alright, so it's a little bit hesitant. I'm going to just tell it to go here. Yep. And then this is why probably. Some lady yelling at me because she's impatient, probably to go to the liquor store. Anyways, that's always a fun intersection no matter what. So anyways, thanks for watching.